I was just reading through these and had a memory. Need to soundboard this to make sure if it is actually something odd or not. Be me, on a study abroad last semester in post-Soviet country. I don't want to be too specific, but the main language is not Russian. Got super drunk with some of my classmates at some club in the old town of the city. My phone is dead, so the classmate I'm with calls a ride and has my stop, or what I told him my stop was, turned out to just be in the general area, put in after his. Driver takes us to his stop fine. Now I am there in the car by myself, pissed drunk at 3 a.m. Guy pulls up to some random spot in the outskirts / residential part of the city. It was probably like 0.5 miles from where I lived. I just was not familiar with the area. Too stupid to ask him to try and go somewhere else. Think I can find my way on my own. Walk around for maybe 20 minutes. Absolutely no one in the streets. I mean no one. No cars, no people. Absolutely dead. I come to the realization that I am kind of genuinely fucked if I can't find my way home. I don't speak the native language well, and my Russian is not great. Keep walking around. Walking. Eventually, I run across this little old lady in what I remember to be like a black sort of robe type of dress. Not weird, just your regular Babsuhka shit. She, for whatever reason, is just walking around the completely dead city at 3:30 to 4 a.m. I go up to her and ask her if she knows where my street is. I am still blasted, so I have no idea how my broken Russian plus slurred speech was understood. I think she knew where it was, but it was too far away. In fact, thinking about it now, I don't know how I conducted a conversation with this lady, because 100% I could not at the time hold a conversation in Russian, much less in a situation like this. She ends up walking me around and helps me hail this cab that comes by. Only car I've seen on the road after my own cab dropped me off. Anyways, the cab takes me home and I slip him some money. Puke my guts out in the bathroom. Anyway, all's well that ends well. But my question is, how did this situation end up so fortuitously? Was that little lady some sort of protector or what? Or was she just some crazy babushka walking around at 3 a.m? Thanks for reading Anons. I have a story. It is true too. So, it is 1998, and I am a young Irish teenager. My mom has been dating some new guy for a few months now. Let's call him Paul. Paul is a pretty bro guy. He lets me drink and smoke when my mom is not around, and he has a very similar style of humor to mine, so we naturally bond and become fast friends. But something is off about Paul. He has a suspect lifestyle. He comes and goes at all hours. There is always whispered conversations on the phone, and he always has stacks of cold, hard cash. In fact, in my mother's room, under her mattress, is fucking full of cash. I had never seen so much physical cash before, or since then. I initially jumped to the obvious conclusion that anyone would. Drugs. But Paul hates junkies, has no time for them, so I instantly begin to seriously doubt he would push drugs. I try to forget about it for a while, but as the weeks go by and the pattern continues, it just eats away at me. I have to ask him. I have to ask Paul what is going on. And being a teenager full of stupid ideas that I mistake for bravery, I do just that. Where is all this money coming from? Where do you vanish for days at a time? What is going on? That is the essential stuff that I put to him, and he initially brushes my question aside, tries to avoid it. I keep mocking and prodding at him, saying stuff like he's probably mugging old ladies or he's some baller pimp. He is laughing, but I can see he is frustrated at my mocking, and indeed, it is not long at all before I break him down. Okay, kid, I will tell you what's going on, but you can never say it to anyone, not even your mother. I agree to the terms. I can tell it's something huge by the tone of his voice. I occasionally work for a branch of the IRA. I'm a gun runner. Someone brings the guns into a dock by boat. I drive them from the docks up past the border into the north. He did not expect my reaction. I laughed. I laughed because I was so sure he just spun a story to stop me asking questions. I even told him he was full of shit. Then he snapped back at me. You think I'm fucking messing around, kid? I am going to give you some advice right here, and you will see how serious I am. Don't take holiday up to the north for a week, and certainly don't travel to Tyrone. He stops after that and just walks off. He was clearly annoyed at me, but surely what he was saying could not be true. I refused to believe what he told me. That Saturday in Omagh, Tyrone, a bomb goes off, killing 29 people, including a pregnant woman. It is to be remembered as the worst terrorist attack in the Trouble's history. I remember feeling sick to my stomach. I remember feeling as if I condemned them to their fate. Maybe if I said something to someone, maybe I could have stopped it. Maybe I could have saved even one person. But I didn't. Me and Paul did not speak much after that. I could never quite look him in the eye. I wasn't scared of him. I was sickened by him. Luckily, it did not last between my mom and Paul. Be me, a junkie. There is this heroin/coke dealer who has this little crew and is always throwing cash around, doing dumb shit. One day over there, buying my shit for the day, announced they are all going camping. They love to do impulsive, random shit. Begged to go with them. I love camping, especially with crazy, cool people such as these folks. Leave Minneapolis to the wilderness outside Duluth. Group of 7 people. Setting up camp. Disorganized as fuck. One couple already fucking in their tent, lol. With all the chaos and getting high, events were not clear until trying to remember later. 2 dudes go to get firewood and make sure nobody else is around to see us using needles and call the cops. Nobody really takes notes or cares to remember that they leave. 30 minutes later, one guy comes back. Where is the other one? I don't know. I went for wood. He went to make sure we were safe to get high. Whatever. He is probably just nodding off somewhere. 2 goddamn hours later, other guy strolls into camp, looking very not high. Where were you? Oh, looking at birds. Lol, what the fuck? What junkie likes bird watching? Nighttime comes around. Dude who came back later acting strange, seems generally confused by our weird activities. Looks almost pissed confused. Junkies be acting strange always, whenever. Been almost 9 hours since we arrived. People getting dope sick, withdrawal, time to get stoned. Dope is passed around. Everyone desperately starts cooking up. Between cooking and strapping up, I notice the guy just smelling the chunk of dope, looking like he can't handle the smell. What the fuck again? Everyone is done shooting up. The guy is still sniffing the chunk. By now, everyone notices. He cautiously licks the dope. His incredibly strong taste and smell of uber vinegar makes this horrible animal gagging/hacking sound. The fuck? The main dealer guy offers to cook and prepare shot for him. Guy cautiously accepts. Shoots him up. Note, your average junkie does enough dope in one shot to kill King Kong and his whole family. Tolerance is a bitch. Guy's whole body starts to shake. The fuck? That guy was known to be King Tolerance. His eyes are popping out. Everyone's still staring with dopey glazed eyes. He makes this strange, panicked, choking breathing sound, like there's a really wet towel in his mouth and throat. Blood literally pops out of his nose, incredibly dark colored. Horrible, horrible stench permeates the camp. Holy shit. Falls over backwards. Panic ensues. Dude, you gave him too much. Fuck. Main guy goes to help him up. Can't. Stench increases to the point where the rest of us are gagging and or puking. Hear distant scream from forest. Amid the panic, I think nobody else notices. Hear other screams join in. Everywhere. What the fuck? The panic levels cannot be contained. Junkie screaming inside the camp too. Screeching outside camp grows and grows. Ears are ringing. Stench is clogging my lungs. I can't take it. Overwhelming smell and high-pitched ringing. Too much to handle. Blackout. Awake in morning. Look around. Very shaky. Can smell hints of stench from last night. Nobody to be seen. Except that fucking guy. The goddamn guy. Boot sticking up from the log he fell off of. Walk over slowly. Looks like he has been dead for weeks. Skin is tight over his face. White and blue. Eyes sunken. Looks like he lost 80 pounds before dying. Blood covering him. I don't know from where. Withdrawing and losing my mind. Steal the main dealer's car. Go home. And never speak of it again. Never heard a word from or about any of those other people again. Except for one girl. Who got put in a psych ward I heard. Never visited her. Damn. Skinwalker couldn't handle all that, I guess. Be me. 22 years old. Land a job at a gas station in bumfuck nowhere woods. Perfect. First few nights were chill. Just me and the internet. One night, things start to get weird. Past midnight, start hearing these odd noises outside, like scratching and shuffling. Probably just a raccoon. Check the security cameras. See something moving at the edge of the light, but can't make it out. Decide to be brave, aka stupid, and investigate. Grab a flashlight and the baseball bat I brought with me. Step outside. The air feels heavy. Flashlight flickers, because of course it does. Hear a whisper. Almost sounded like someone calling my name. Anon. Nope the fuck out of there. Go back inside. Lock the door. Look at the cameras again. See a figure pacing outside. It's just an old guy. He stops. Looks straight at the camera. I swear, it fucking smiles at me. The power flickers and screen goes black. Sitting there in the dark, only sound is me breathing. I hear laughter from whatever that thing is outside. Power comes back on, thank fuck. Check the monitors again. He is gone, but I swear, I can still feel it out there. Spend the next 2 hours with my back to the wall, bat in hand, jumping at every sound. Calm down. It's just tonight. I will quit tomorrow. We can handle this. Flash forward a few hours to around 2 a.m. Decide to make a round inside, just to check if everything is locked tight. As I pass by the snack aisle, hear a soft thud inside back room. Heart drops to my ass. Open the door. Find nothing. Just boxes and the usual junk. About to turn and start walking back. Then I hear it. A faint whisper coming from the vent. Anon. Sounded like the same voice from outside. Nope. Slam the door and I dash back to the counter. Try to distract myself by listening to YouTube videos to stay calm. The lights start flickering. Flicker, flicker, gone. Complete darkness. Only light is from my phone screen. Hear scratching coming from the front door. Slowly lift my head and wish I hadn't. There he is, the old man with his face pressed against the glass, grinning with too many teeth. In the dark, his eyes looked like pitch black voids. His skin was pale and stretched tight, dry. It taps on the glass, like it's inviting me to come outside. I am frozen with fear. Can't move, can't scream, can only watch as it draws a crooked finger across the glass. Let me in and on. I grab my bat, get ready to swing if it breaks in. The power surges back. Old man / creature thing is gone, just vanished. Fast forward another few hours. It's like 4:30 a.m. now. Dawn is approaching, but every single minute drags on. Start hearing a noise from the roof, like something is crawling, scraping sound from above. Then, a new sound, a low growl from right outside the back door. It is circling me like a predator. I grip the bat tighter. Sweat starts pouring down my forehead. Then growling stops. I hear nothing for a few minutes, replaced by a soft, cooing, sing-songy voice. It's mimicking an old woman's voice now, calling me to come out. Please come out, Anon. I need your help. I know it's not an old woman. Shaking my head and covering my ears. Then, silence, too silent. Suddenly, a loud crash against the back door. I jump, almost scream, but my jaw tension clamps my mouth shut. The banging continues, like it's desperately trying to get in. I can't take it anymore. I scream back, "Fuck off, I'm not letting you in." The banging stops abruptly. Peek through the blinds. The first light of dawn is breaking. Thank fucking God. Sweet sense of relief finally, but I keep my guard up. As the sun rises, the feeling of being watched fades. Morning shift guy arrives. Drive back home. Immediately email my resignation, effective as of that day. Hire call girl for an afternoon some time ago. Treat her nicely/decently during the time we spent together. Apparently, she was so used to being treated like shit for being a prostitute that my polite/quiet/non-judging, if a bit weird to some, because I know that I am not a very expressive person, demeanor, even for the relatively small amount of time we spent together, shines as brightly as the sun. Afternoon is over, pay her dues, drop her off downtown, get on with my life. After 2 days, she contacts me through WhatsApp. Later that same day, she adds me on Facebook. We talk a lot over the next week, never about sex. She is quite a decent conversationalist. Stop thinking with my dick and realize she not only found out my real phone number, I have 2 phones, each one with a SIM card. The cheap, shitty one is used for shenanigans, the other for family and work/study. I don't want my niece asking to play on my phone and stumbling upon photos/conversations with call girls, but also she found out my real name. Get more reticent when conversing with her. She apparently notices this, and her next step is to show up at my workplace and start conversations under the guise of doing research for college essays. I work at a government organization, responsible equivalent of the US Census Bureau in my country, so I am basically ordered by law to give in and talk to her as long as the talk remains in the professional realm. Colleagues notice her weekly, nearly daily presence and joke about my girlfriend when she leaves. After a while, things get even weirder. I swear, she found out where I live. Never had hard evidence, but sometimes I would arrive home to a very faint smell of perfume hanging in the air, or things seemingly out of place. That Saturday, call her and ask to meet her in a bar for lunch, near where I first dropped her off downtown. Spend another afternoon with her, setting things straight. 3 hours of exasperation, tears, mild yelling, and drink/snacks to keep the barkeeper from kicking us out. Things are resolved. She basically admits to stalking me for not being a rude, crass, rough piece of shit. I mean, why thank you. Gets quiet when I mention perceived disturbances in my house, which I interpret as an admission of guilt. Drop her off at home, go to mine. She still showed up to my work unexpectedly a couple of times, but that was dealt with quickly. Still keep in contact with her after all of that. She is a decent person on her own and quite fun to talk with. The downside is that, well, no more professional services from her. TLDR, Anon gets briefly stalked by a prostitute. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you do and you want to hear more, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below, as it lets the algorithm know that you like my content and it promotes it to more people. My goal for the channel is to hit 50,000 subscribers, and we're closing in fast, so thank you, and back to the stories. I've got a weird one, but no good personal stories about it, or nothing worth green texting. But in case anyone finds it interesting, I will do a QRD. Grew up in a small country town. Cousins and grandparents all lived in the same town too. Grandparents' house had one room that we all knew was haunted. Any time you spent the night there, you would wake up feeling like a cold hand was touching you. Happened to me a couple of times. After the second time, I refused to sleep there anymore. Same with my cousins. They all claim the same thing happened to them. All of us agreed it felt like a cold hand with long fingers. Weird coincidence. My grandparents both died in that room. Grandpa had a heart attack in there one day. Grandma died in her sleep in there. Nobody is sure why she was sleeping in that room instead of her own, but that is where my parents found her. After Grandma died, we held a wake in the house. A few of us spent the night, and cousins and I decided to sleep in the haunted room together that night. To be honest, I have no idea why we did that, lol. None of us felt the cold hand, except one older cousin who said he felt it touching his arm. He has had pains in the arm ever since then. That's pretty much it. We sold that house after my grandma died. I moved away. Not sure if the owners have had anything happen to them. I got a story too. I was 7 or 8 years old, and me and my family were staying for the holidays in a little holiday village. The village was in south of Germany, near a very small town. We spent almost every summer there, often with other families. It was a nice little place with little wooden cabins and bigger houses for bigger families. It had a playground, a hall for feasts, a little poolside and such. Also, it was in the woods. If you left this village at one side, you came across a canyon in the woods. It was a long descent, and loose rocks were all in your way. My friend Andy, of the same age, and I went down there a lot. The canyon stopped, with walls on each side, and a collapsed cave in front of you. We tried to enter the cave, but the more stones we loosened, the more came rushing after them. We found some cool bones down there. And little kids we were, we fantasized we found parts of a dinosaur skeleton. Then, one day, we wanted to investigate further, and brought a shovel and a pickaxe to clear the rubble out of the cave's entry. I remember it was a Sunday, because we snuck away from the church that morning. So, we left the village to the woods to find the opening of that canyon. When we were halfway down, I stopped for some reason and turned around. Behind me, I saw the figure of a man with long hair, and he was somehow shining. Also, the sun shone through the woods behind him, but I remember that he seemed to glow so bright that I could not see his face or his clothes. Just remember he had long hair. He reached out a hand to me and shook his head. I turned to tell Andy, and as we turned around again, the man was gone. He did not believe me what I saw. I told him we should not go down there. I just had that feeling. He would not listen and went on by himself, saying I was a coward. I did not go after him, but left the shovel on the ground and ran to the church to tell my parents. I did, and showed them and his parents the way to the canyon. We got down there, and when we came to the bottom, no one was there. Just the pickaxe he brought, stuck in the rubble. So, Andy was gone, and he was nowhere to be found. There was a whole police search, and the volunteer fire department had the cave opened up. It was an entry to an old mine from probably 200 years ago. There was nothing to find, except for other collapsed side tunnels and some more bones. Andy never came back. Be me, camping at Colleton State Park in South Kakalaki in a basic tent. Left dog at home with roommate because it might be too hot during the day. Buddy is with me, and we do basic camping stuff, fires, food, and alcohol. Not an empty park at all. Plenty of people, though none within several hundred yards of our site. Nestled right against an embankment that drops 20 feet or so into swampy land, then a river. We call it a night and bed down. Eyes are heavy. It is unnaturally quiet for such a well-used park. Hear rustling to my right, which is where the embankment is. Fucking jolted awake, eyes wide, heart racing, adrenaline absolutely maxed. Why the fuck did I not bring the dog? Pay careful attention to the steps, and they are clearly bipedal. Rolls out all animals in that part of the world. Very slow-paced steps, but very steady. Never felt the need to be so goddamn quiet in my life. I am controlling my breath to the point where I can't even hear it. Peeking out the mesh of the tent, but it is pitch black. Not a shred of moonlight or artificial light. Steps pause like fucking immediately, perpendicular to my spot. Is this how I die? I have completely stopped breathing now for what feels like an eternity. Steps continue onwards with their slow pace. The kicker is my buddy did not hear shit because he is half deaf and was sleeping in the bed of his truck with all sorts of shit around him. eventually calm the fuck down and fall asleep. Next morning, we are both awakened to the sound of kids screaming down by the river. Rush down to see what is going on. At least one kid drowned in the river. Kid was dragged down below, and all of his friends seemed to be trying to find him. Cops show up, find a body downstream. The head was missing. I don't want to believe it's true, because, quite frankly, it is terrifying. But I need someone to either debunk this or relate to this. My great-grandmother died about 12 years ago. The family is convinced it was spontaneous human combustion. She basically fit all of the criteria from my online research, but I still do not want to believe that this can happen. Yes, she was an alcoholic. Yes, she smoked cigarettes. She's female, and apparently that places her at higher risk of this. She was 84 years old at the time, but was completely lucid. Despite years of drinking and smoking, you would still think she may be in her early 70s. She was mobile, did not have any pre-existing medical conditions, never diagnosed with COPD from smoking or alcoholism, but these may have some impact. We checked on her often, never confused. She remembered things that we didn't actually. Don't forget, it's Billy's birthday tomorrow. Give him a call, for example. So, to sum it up, she was as aware as ever. Great memory, short and long term, mobile, and fell under the category BMI perfectly. She had a specific bedtime and routine, woke up at the same time every day, made coffee, etc. I always thought to myself that she must have fallen asleep with a cigarette in her hand, or drank too much on a particular evening, or something, anything, had gone differently than her normal routine. But her neighbor across from her said that she had spoke to her around 8 p.m, face to face, and that my great-grandmother had on her robe, nightly routine, lights turned down low, and was not smoking a cigarette or anything. She was getting ready to go to bed. So, when they found her on her bed, in the most mysterious of ways, charred, we were all confused. I still am. I don't know what to believe. I've done so much research over the past 12 years. I keep researching occasionally, and something new will come up, but it does not nearly debunk what happened. I see things about women being alcoholics who smoke being at high risk, assuming it's true, especially those with COPD or on oxygen. Yikes, that is a disaster waiting to happen if you were smoking near your O2. So I assumed that possibly her nighttime routine had changed for whatever reason, and she had a smoke in bed. She never smoked in bed, and fell asleep with it. More details on her findings. She was completely charred and burned to the point of only bones on her upper torso, but both legs still had her nighttime socks on. Her slippers were undamaged at the foot of the bed, where she would religiously take them off every night, and then slip right into them in the morning by walking to the foot of the bed. However, the upper half of her body was completely destroyed, bed and all. Her bed frame was wrought iron, which has a melting point of approximately 2700 to 2900 degrees Fahrenheit, if my research is correct, and was malformed and warped. The wall at the head of the bed had extensive burn damage. Her skull was the only thing left at the top of the bed, while her lower legs remained intact, and even the socks. I did not, and still don't understand, and neither does anyone else apparently. I've been trying to piece it together, but my great-grandmother never smoked in her bedroom. She only had one ashtray, as I was aware, and it was crystal and downstairs, where it remained when the home was entered. There were no signs of another ashtray. Of course, it could have been on a nightstand, or perhaps in her lap, or next to her, and was destroyed in the fire. Anyway, it's been on my mind for a while. I have had lots of paranormal experiences unrelated to this that I want to post about eventually, but this is something real that happened to her, our family, and we have yet to come to a conclusion. Probably never will. If there is anyone out there who has experienced something similar, I would really love to hear about your experience. If anyone out there has completely debunked spontaneous human combustion, I really need to hear it to find some sort of closure. If you completely believe that spontaneous human combustion is a real phenomena, I would love to hear from you too, rather than go off of the limited research and reports I've accessed online. Go to my dad's friends to watch his band play at a get-together. X's little bro tags along. The area where the band is playing is in a little country bumpkin town called Dalton. End up getting pretty plastered on rum and hanging out with X's bro and dad's friend's daughter, who are about the same age. Sitting in a car, singing along to rock music, and mention how I wish I could go spook hunting in a cemetery. The daughter says there is one right down the street, and we decided to go. Get to little cemetery in a clearing, and go hang out on one of those big crypt things. Sitting there, drunkenly bullshitting and smoking cigarettes. About an hour passes, and we suddenly hear what sounds like a woman screaming. Yet it was animalistic in the woods surrounding the cemetery. Nope the fuck out of there. Still don't know what it was. Definitely not a bobcat though. Does not sound the same. Happened in western KY.